And welcome to Blockbuster Bums. Kick back your recliner, crack open a beer, and let's talk movies. And today we'll be talking about Die Another Day, the 21st installment of the Bond series from 2002. And it'll be the last movie with Pierce Brosnan as James Bond.
Thank God.
About to say the same thing.
And Justin, you got a synopsis for us?
I do. All right. In this one, James Bond is sent to investigate the connection between a North Korean terrorist and a diamond mogul who happens to be funding the development of an international space weapon. Here we go with the space weapons again.
Yeah, it's much better than last time we dealt with space
diamonds
weapons.
are forever-y.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
We
it
know
really
what the
is.
diamonds
Yeah.
are, but we know who has the diamonds.
Yes.
Yeah.
We definitely know who has the
Tracking better
diamonds.
this
Yeah.
Is this the second diamond satellite movie? I mean,
I believe so.
yeah.
Yes. Well, Barry, what did you think of your first watch of Die Another Day?
Die Another Day has a lot of problems. There are parts of it that are just flatly, I'd say most people would probably say they're just bad. But overall, again, just as an entertainment piece, I was largely entertained. I can suspend my disbelief because I'm watching a James Bond movie. And generally speaking, I didn't hate it. Got some enjoyment out of it. So while I can point out the negatives, I won't bash this movie.
All right. Justin, your thoughts on the rewatch?
I'll bash it. I think it's terrible.
Justin will bash this movie.
Definitely the worst of all of Brosnan's movies. The best thing about the movie is, I think we'll touch on it later, is Jinx. She doesn't save the movie, but when you think of all of the, good things and potential, she's up there. Watching this the second time around, I did not enjoy it just like I didn't enjoy it the first time. So it just made me remember how much I hated this movie. So, yep, I'm pretty down on it.
Ray, your thoughts?
It should have been direct to DVD. Shouldn't even hit the theater. The CGI was fucking trash. Most of the movie could have been cut out for a PlayStation 1 game as a cutscene. That's how lazy this movie was.
It would have been a good game.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was just so bad. And the whole premise and it was just trash. I'll just stop there.
All right. Tom?
I was not impressed with it, but I'll say I'll give it redeeming qualities, and I enjoyed the fight scenes more, like the choreography I really did enjoy, and a lot of like the gun battles and firefights. Like you could tell that was a big part of where the budget was. I did kind of I wasn't as hard on the CGI because I realized that we're looking at it now in a retrospect, where rather than like at the time, I was like, man, we were probably all pretty impressed when we first seen it. Because, like I said, I remember playing PlayStation 1 games and thought it was the shit. But now you look back and everything's triangles and pixels and all that.
Yeah,
so
but PlayStation 1 games, though, were at least mapped out a little bit better.
Yeah, because actually,
well,
Tomorrow Never Dies was a game, and I played it, and I thought it was pretty good.
It was a game.
And it had cutscenes from the movie.
Well,
it looked good. And I do remember Die Another Day being a movie, and I mean being a game, and I don't think it did very well.
No, it definitely didn't beat GoldenEye.
No, GoldenEye
you could tell that's
top
what.
tier, that's
You could tell when they released it, they wanted it to be a modern GoldenEye, and it didn't hold up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of hold space at least for the CGI just because it was newer at the time, and even nowadays, like trying to get things like water and fire and things like that, you can mess those up so easily, even with the modern stuff. So I'm not as harsh on that. I do side with Justin where we got a better Bond girl out of this one, like a little more utility, but yeah, it still wasn't that great of a movie to go out on for Mr. Brosnan.
Yeah. I do like Halle Berry. I like Jinx. Uh, like Barry said, this movie has issues. Again, I'm not gonna go out and say I hated this movie. Like it was like an awful overall movie. I watched the whole thing. I sat through it fine. It wasn't like I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm having to watch this. But we're ranking them up against other Bond movies, so yeah, it wasn't that great. I do think it's the worst Brosnan film by far. Say what?
I was gonna say something, but it can wait.
Oh, okay. Well, I was to say we start off with Bond surfing,
Oh
And-
my god.
and I guess here's my question: as far as I can remember, we've never seen Bond surf before.
Well,
And
that's
there's a
not
reason
true.
for that.
It's not
because
true?
It's
We
trash.
saw him surfing in. Oh wait, that was just surf music.
Oh yes, yeah, the surf
USA.
music where they were
Yeah.
skiing.
that was
Surfing
He was
USA on
snowboarding.
snow.
You did not like this. I thought it was a little. It's odd. It strikes you odd when you see it, but it didn't bother me. I was kind
See?
of like, oh, they're just doing something different.
Now, when it hit me, I was like, man, is this going to be a fucking sequel to Surf Ninjas? Like, did they turn to crime or something? Like, what the fuck are we doing?
I like Surf Ninjas.
I liked Surf Ninjas too when I was a
I
kid.
do.
But I didn't have a problem with them surfing. I was just like, is this the first time we've ever seen Bond surf?
See,
It's a stealth approach.
I think
I,
so.
I thought more of like Point Break whenever I seen it.
Point
or
Break.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
Point
you
Break.
At it again.
Yeah,
But at
like,
least
is
they use
is that what he's
practical
going for? He's trying to
effects.
be Keanu? Is that what we're doing?
And
Like,
I guess this is a legitimate question. I don't. Was that CGI? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Because
Yeah.
if it was, it looked pretty good. Because I was watching
I think it was
and, like,
moving too fast to be
Okay.
legit surfing. To
Yeah,
me.
it was
I have
straight
to
up
assume
CG.
it was.
Yeah.
But
It was
they
a-
did a good job with it.
It was a very, very long scene. Because, like, you see one person and then they surf for a minute, and then you see a second person join them and they surf for a minute, and then a third person joins them and they surf. Like, it's a long scene for them just watching people from a distance surf.
But the way I compared it is, I like the Escape from L.A. and New York movies. Well, there was the surf scene in Escape L.A. That was way more enjoyable than this fucking surf scene was. At least we knew in Escape L.A. that was super gimmicky and kind of stupid, and you kind of ride with it. Like, this is a spy movie. Dude, somebody's going to detect you on this surfboard rolling up on the fucking aisle. Somebody's at a watchtower looking somewhere looking for boats or something. Like, I just couldn't get past the surf scene.
Yeah, you see like 3 long breaks in water, you'd notice that right
Yeah.
off the bat.
You got people on guard.
Even if they are using black surfboards or whatever the hell those were.
Yeah.
usually there'd be more, I guess we'll say, professional way to, like, raid the beach, I guess. Like,
Or use scuba gear.
Yeah.
You can be
yeah,
underwater and don't even.
we've seen in Thunderball the underwater stuff and everything.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
That's
you
also-
can put a
yeah.
duck on your head if you
Yeah,
need
like-
to.
We need to
Yeah,
break out
see,
those
like, yeah,
things again.
we've seen the alligator head and everything. You like
So
costuming up,
you
like
prefer alligator costume over surfing?
yes.
I can understand
Oh,
people
that's a
being
tough
put
one.
off by the surfing,
That's a tough one.
but it didn't bother me. I saw it as just, hey, we're going to do this
It's
different thing.
another defense for Octopussy. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
So, I mean, then we're talking about, Bond going in and, trying to make this fake diamond deal with, what is the guy's original name before he's,
Moon?
is it Moon?
Yeah, like he's a dirty North Korean.
just leave it there. Like, just-
Yeah.
He's a dirty North Korean military member. I don't know what his rank is or whatever.
Colonel.
But yeah, he's
Yeah, his dad is the general or whatever.
But great introduction scene when he's like beating up the bag and everything that has like
Yeah.
the old boy in it, and they just unzip it. They're like, that was one of the scenes I remember as a kid where I'm a big fan of kung fu movies and all the choreography, like, and just beating the piss out of it, and I didn't expect that to like. So that was one of
seen
the,
that somewhere before.
yeah, like
Where somebody
like
was
they've
in a
used it in
bag
other
and a
movies
guy
and
was
all.
punching it and beating it up.
But it was one where I thought that was awesome. And he just goes right from that to going out and doing the deal. Like,
Oh, Jason Statham did that in one of the Fast and Furious movies.
I can believe it.
It was it
Was
might
it
have
Hobbs
been
and
the
Shaw?
Hobbs and Shaw or something like that.
Okay.
But he was like he had a guy in a bag, but so that would have been copying this because it would have been after. But yeah, I know I've seen it somewhere before.
Yeah, I've never watched Hobbs and Shaw.
It's decent. It's okay.
What did you guys make just overall of this opening scene in North Korea where Bond infiltrates to participate in the dirty diamond deal with these they call them conflict diamonds, I guess, because
what is I see I was going to ask you guys what is a conflict diamond? I guess I didn't really research that.
It's like a thing that happened in Africa. A lot of the ways they obtain the diamonds.
Oh,
were
okay.
So basically the blood diamonds that we
blood
always hear
diamonds.
about.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
a conflict diamond is. It was out of Africa during this really time. There's a DiCaprio movie called Blood Diamond.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
about
okay.
what happened there. It's pretty good.
Gotcha. Okay.
so I have to assume I'm not an expert on blood or conflict that it's basically people don't want to deal in these. Is that the
People were
idea?
killed over.
Yeah.
They're basically
the
done by
obtaining of
like
these
slave
diamonds.
labor and all
Yeah.
that to mine them and then just like get them under. Yeah, it's pretty much illegal diamond mining.
So it's black
like,
market stuff,
Yeah.
which this North Korean colonel is participating in. Bond seeking to infiltrate it and do some damage because he has some C4 that he's going to explode and presumably kill the colonel and maybe others.
But I like that because once again, it's Bond is an assassin, so to speak. So it's like you're here to assassinate the bad guys doing
Yeah.
this and all. It is an MI6 assassination attempt. So like I did enjoy that part of it.
I
it's
don't.
good.
I think these whole opening scene is fine. Like he goes there, he meets with them, he gets caught. Not
And the one like the super weapon that old boy like demonstrates with him and all that kind of stuff. Like
then you have the hovercraft chase
which
through the minefield.
hilarious but still good. Like
Yeah, it was fine. I didn't have any problems with any of this opening stuff.
Well, I did learn it's hard to keep a hovercraft just going straight by watching this.
Oh, yeah, drifting and all that. Like,
But it was well done. It was cool.
but yeah, you got a nice fight scene there in the beginning, and then like just you seen old boy go over the edge, and then his father is there and all, which his father shows up and kind of ruins the deal for him initially. Like, so then it's like all thinks his son's dead, and then we get him getting kidnapped, and then boom, opening montage sequence, which I liked.
Yeah. Well, we end up meeting Zhao, who ends up with not all of them, a bunch of the diamonds embedded in his face when the explosion goes off, which is a pretty cool look. I wouldn't have had them removed either. I would have kept those diamonds in my face. But yeah, Bond getting captured, and then like Tom mentioned, it goes into the horrific song. But the visuals of the title opening, I actually quite like because it tells you the story of poor James Bond being tortured. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the things that I actually did like. It wasn't the normal, naked silhouette girls, which I do miss me some naked silhouette girls.
Yeah.
But
Right. Yeah.
I liked how they kind of used that time to
show
this
like,
is what happened to Bond as he was captured.
Yeah,
Like
it really explains like the scorpion type venom they're using for him and everything. Like it's
Well, is this I was thinking about this too. Is this also the first time we've really seen Bond be tortured? Like, because before, like, there's always been threats of it, and there's like, like the laser between his legs, but it stops. You know what I'm saying?
Prolonged.
Yeah, this is like he's actually being tortured.
Over a year.
Tortured.
Yeah.
And he was kept, and this
Comes
is
out looking like me.
in
Like,
my
it's
thick,
like-
you were disavowed. You were,
Yeah, 'cause-
you were not associated with us.
Yeah, 'cause even when he got captured in the other movies, he's always like, "Here's your hotel or here's your room, and we'll bring you food." And
This was a time where Bond actually could not escape.
yeah, they got you. North
'Cause the
Koreans
only-
aren't as
I think the only
hospitable.
reason he got out was because they made a deal.
Yeah.
So he was really not going to escape.
and really a deal they didn't want to make.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
thought
it
he was.
like,
it was
they-
it was
thought he
a
was
stupid
squealing.
deal.
Yeah, they talk shit on him the entire time he's walking toward him and all that. Like it's like, oh, look at him walking like he's some sort of hero and all that. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
the
wondering how the hell did they get into North Korea to take Zhao?
Zhao was.
He got
out of
caught
North
up on a
Korea.
deal or something, and they got him.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
had been killing Chinese.
Something, yeah, something like
and
that.
I don't remember where he was captured, but yeah, they had to make that deal, and they were pissed that they had to do that.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I was a little disappointed with how M treated him when he wakes up in the what do you want to call it,
yeah.
doctor room or a hospital room or whatever.
Prison. to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, kind of prison, yeah.
Like a prison ER, like.
Yeah.
Like a caveman.
Because this has been your number one
Robinson
agent
Crusoe.
for at this point years and years and years, and you're just treating like you can't even, you're not even asking him. You're just saying, well, you did these things. You're not asking him, hey, did you do these things? And then she's like, and you're essentially, she says, you're our prisoner and you can't go anywhere or do anything. You've lost your freedom and you're useless.
Yeah, the worst thing she says is that you're of no use to anyone now.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything harsher to say to somebody than that?
It was terrible, but the only reason I kind of understood is they did force her hand because they said, look, hey, we've got one of your agents. At that point, you don't know whether they actually broke him, whether something happened and he, gave up some information. Now she's forced to have to get him out of there so that they can't keep him longer to possibly get information from him. So she had no choice but to get him out of there.
Oh,
Whether she was going to kill him after that or do whatever they did, retire him or whatever. She had no choice. They had to get him out of there once they found out he was alive.
I
They
don't
assumed he was dead.
I don't hold it against them for disavowing him. That's part of the deal. I don't hold it against, yeah, you're right. She had no choice. She had to go get him because the Americans were blaming him for the death of their men. And the Chinese. Yeah. So they had no she had no choice but to go get him. But that doesn't mean that you have to treat him essentially you're just he's your prisoner. He went from being their prisoner to your prisoner.
Right.
I'm not saying he has to meet the next day he's back on active duty, but we're just gonna put you in a cell and throw away the key and we're not even gonna ask you any questions. We're not even gonna ask you what happened, what you did. Are you even guilty?
Yeah. So basically, we're done with you, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that was ultimately.
Yeah.
I think it said for 14 months. So I don't know if maybe they thought he could have been brainwashed or done something,
Yeah.
Because, you torture somebody that long, eventually they will break. Maybe they thought he did.
They definitely thought that he did. They thought that he was spewing info. And I thought one of the kind of interesting little piece of the interaction was that she basically told him, you know what you're supposed to do if you're caught. You're supposed to use your cyanide capsule.
And he said he threw it out.
And he said, I threw that away a long time ago, which I kind of thought was interesting. That's what I would do, but you would think if you're secret super agent or whatever,
or maybe that's
you
what
just
she's really
accept
mad
that's
about.
part of the deal and you would actually do it.
He didn't follow the protocol. Maybe that's what she's
That would
really
probably
mad
piss you
about.
off too.
He's not supposed to still be alive when he got captured.
Yes.
He should have had taken that pill and been done. But I would think that he threw it out long ago. She probably should have known that.
Mm-hmm.
He's been captured many times.
Yeah.
And ain't killed himself. So, yeah.
And see, this is part of what's
You
frustrating
gotta know
about this
James
movie.
Bond.
And is the setup's awesome. I think that's an awesome setup. And you could have done a lot. I don't want to see James Bond walking around like a sad sack and, having flashbacks and he doesn't know what to do. So all he does is lay in bed. I don't want to see a Daniel Craig movie.
Oh, you
I
will.
want to see Timothy Dalton. I want to see him pissed.
But yeah, I
Go
want to
after
see
them.
him struggling to some degree with
Rampage.
this. You were just tortured for over a year. I want to see that in some way, shape, or form, maybe play a role in how you function moving forward. Does that make sense?
Maybe a PTSD type of deal. Something he's got to overcome.
Yeah, he has to overcome something.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Could have been very interesting.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was watching this, it was 14 months, and the only thing I could think of was, man, Brittany Griner still got out before James Bond.
Different commies.
Yeah.
But he did escape though.
Yes.
So there was that.
Here's my thing. It's why did you? You're literally trying to keep 007 locked up. Why was there no security? None. There was no security.
Pretty damn minimal, yeah. Yeah, well, of course he escaped by lowering his heart rate purposefully. I assume that's what I'm supposed to take away from that, was that it was
You
purposeful.
can control it. And all
Yeah. I think the escape's cool, and even cooler is when he, walks into this 5-star hotel looking like a dirty homeless bum.
And they knew who he was.
And he just walks in like it's nothing. and proceeds to get himself back to being James Bond.
And that's class, Barry.
That is class.
Class, because they knew him and everything. Even like oh, so and so. Like,
So I'm,
yep.
thinking maybe this is a place he's maybe shown up bloody before, maybe shown up
Yeah.
with
He
a
was,
broken bone or two and limping. And, oh, it's just Bond.
it's very
we
John
don't know
Wick
what
to
he
the
does,
Continental.
but
He's just like, oh, I'm here again.
And it's in
come on in.
Hong Kong is where he ends
Mhm.
up at.
which is a place he's been before.
Yeah.
So
And it's a nice little scene. I enjoy that.
And the way he like uses the knowledge of like, oh, they killed these Chinese agents to his advantage. Be like, hey, I'll take out the guy that did this for you guys. Just hook me up, like get me my stuff, And they hook him up, and he's like, I'll go kill this guy. Obviously, he doesn't, at least then, right away. But the Chinese, whatever agency, I don't even know the name of their agency, just immediately are like, yeah, deal.
Yeah,
like-
yeah, we don't have to do it, and if you're gonna do it for us, like, yeah.
So I guess you know what, he was mad because apparently he was really out for blood when he heard that Zhao was out there, because he wanted him. Like after that, he did kind of show that. It was very brief, but yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know where the anger came from with him knowing that Zhao was out there.
Well,
He
then
wanted
we
to kill him bad.
so he goes to Cuba, right?
Mhm.
Yes, Cuba to find Zhao, and that's when we meet Jinx for the first time with her classic coming up out of the water scene.
Which pays homage to Honey Rider, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
And
that was a big
Damn,
deal.
did she look good coming
by
up.
the way, over the course of this movie, but it starts right here in this opening scene, the amount of sexual comments between the two of these people is over the top.
Yeah, it is.
Like it was
Like,
building
whoa. Like,
and
at one
building.
point when she's like, well, I think I felt the thrust. And I was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
Well, 'cause
It's
we
hard
get-
to call it flirting even.
mm-hmm.
'Cause
It's
we
like,
got
man,
nothing
this
from
is even
Christmas
better
in the
than
last
Moneypenny.
so,
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Like, got to make up for it. Like,
But yeah, Jinx coming out of the water, that's another classic scene that you see on a lot of highlights for Bond stuff. And then then he's like, then they have this long drawn out like sex scene where he's like, oh, I just been missing the touch of a woman, and all this, and fair enough, I suppose. But then she sneaks off, and they both end up at the hospital or whatever you want to call it, facility that Zhao is at. But then Bond doesn't kill him. Bond stands there and wants to have a conversation with him, and then ends up getting his gun kicked out of his hand, and they end up having to fight and all this stuff. And it's like, no, if you were this irritated and needed to take him out, you should just walk up and went pop, and then it should have been over.
Yeah,
Like-
he lingered a bit too long.
And he already thought that Moon was dead. So if Zhao is the only thing left of this bad group, killing him at least in your mind should have ended it. And the fact that you didn't do it is a huge mess up.
Yeah.
And what the hell was Jinx blowing up? With that very small explosion she set off.
Something in the file cabinet.
I know she put the bomb in the file cabinet, but
But I don't
why?
know what-
Like,
yeah,
she
I
already
don't know.
she already set her file on fire. So it's not like she was just trying to get her file out of there.
So she's
don't know.
a CIA agent, ultimately, right? She's an American working for the government. I think it's CIA.
They said NSA.
Or
NSA,
Yeah.
One of the dirty agencies we have. But so it seems like there's some investigation into, not only Zhao, but also the goings on to some degree with this medical facility, which I guess does like DNA transfer is the idea, to where you can even change somebody's appearance entirely, which is what Zhao's attempting to do when Bond kind of stumbles upon him.
And wasn't there another movie around that time called Face Off?
that's what I thought the whole time.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage and Travolta and all like, like it was a big deal at the time. Like, you were really
Yeah.
I enjoyed
that was a
Face
plot
Off.
line.
I did.
But it was still a good fight scene between him and Zhao. But to be honest, if I was Bond, the easy thing to do would have been to pop him and all that in there, but I probably would have wanted to torture him a little bit. Like, if I knew he was there and, just couldn't move and cohere and everything, It's like, dude, after I'm getting like, tortured for 14 months, like with scorpion venom keep me alive. I know I've been disavowed. Like, I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction of going out that easy.
But they didn't do that either.
I think there's
No,
also the
no, but
angle
I'm
though.
just saying, like, I would have been like, I probably would have had my own little monologue of knowing that you hear me in some aspect of like, and now I'm gonna torture you and you can't do anything about it because you're like supposedly like sedated for surgery.
I think there's some angle too, and I won't pretend to, where Bond knows that he was betrayed, and
Yes.
perhaps he thinks that somehow Zhao may have information regarding this, to where he can hunt down whoever betrayed him,
Yeah, because like I said, ultimately, like after this, you still have to clear your reputation and name in some way, like because the Americans just don't believe anything you say and everything. Even like your own boss and MI6 don't believe you, and now you've escaped from their facility and are just on the run. So yeah, you have just went entirely rogue agent. Like,
So another thing that is back in this movie, which I'm sure Tom appreciates this, is
J.W.
throughout.
Pepper?
No, unfortunately not. But throughout this whole movie, Bond is smoking cigars again.
Yeah.
that is true. They bring it
Finally.
back. Yeah, classy. Like, I'm fine with it. Like,
Yeah.
Well, you hated it the last time. Last time
yeah,
you went you talked about it for like 10 minutes about how ridiculous it was.
that's because
And that was more, right?
Yeah, it was more. Yeah.
I mean,
once again, it just doesn't.
Didn't Brosnan give Moneypenny one?
did he?
He didn't smoke one. I think he gave her one.
He did it in
Yeah, I think he might have passed.
last
The
on.
World Is Not Enough, yeah.
Mhm.
Would it have been nice to see
Well,
him
and he was in
take out a
Cuba
pack of
too, I
smokes?
guess.
Yeah.
So
I was
if you're
gonna
going to
say,
be
yeah.
in Cuba, you're going to have yourself
That's
a
what they're
cigar.
known. That's what they're
Nice
known for.
Cohiba.
Like,
You're going to have yourself a cigar in a 1950s Chevrolet. That's going to
yes, which
By the way,
once again, both great things.
Yeah.
Like,
but this facility again, the small explosion goes off. There's gunfights. People are shooting, running around, fighting, all this stuff. And the military people like go after Jinx, and Jinx jumps off that cliff. Talk about an unrealistic thing, Ray. You were talking about unrealistic for Christmas last movie. That's an unrealistic thing for you. Jinx jumps off the cliff into the water and gets on the yacht or whatever. And Bond is standing there with the military guys with his gun out, and nobody says a word to him. He just turns around and walks away.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very
I thought
interesting.
that was peculiar.
because once again, he was smoking the cigar. Like, oh, he's one
He
of
seems
us. Like,
legit.
yeah, I just like he was chasing her as well. It's fine. Like, just like he's clearly on the up and up. Like, just
And then there was a scene where I guess Bond walks into this hotel room and knocks that dude out. And the dude's got the whore on the bed, and whore on the bed just, another day at the office,
Yeah,
Doing
she
her
doesn't even
thing.
move. She just
Doesn't
says
even
hello
move.
to him, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Just like this must have happened, a couple days ago, 50 times in her career. Just like, whatever,
I think
That's a
in
nice
part,
experience whore right there.
they do a good job of establishing the guy that Bond punches out and kind of uses as a prop. Ultimately, is what Bond uses as being such a raging asshole
Yeah.
that nobody's going to help him and nobody's going to care. That's kind of how I took it,
Yeah. Then Bond goes back to London to see Graves. So he's in London, where MI6 is, but he's been disavowed. So you see Graves very dramatically parachute into his own press conference.
He's the Elon Musk of.
He's something, all right.
Yes.
He doesn't believe in sleep.
Oh, I guess probably we should mention that, and I don't remember how he came across him, that Bond becomes interested in Graves because he comes across diamonds that
We're in Zal's necklace.
reportedly, Graves discovered, but Bond has had them analyzed and realizes these are the conflict diamonds that Graves is passing off as something else.
Yeah, that is true. So he, then we end up at this, I don't even know what you call it, the fencing place.
Oh, like a fencing school.
Loved that scene.
Yeah, I was
And
like,
I'm not
never
gonna
had a
lie,
fight scene.
it was interesting. Like you see Graves and Frost fencing, and then Bond gets put into it by Madonna. By the way,
Yeah, don't
Which
forget
did
she
a
runs
way
the
better
school.
job acting than she did singing. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, she did all right. Her
She
little
was
role
fine.
was fine. Yeah.
yeah. And so then they start fencing, and then it just very quickly escalates to they get real swords out and then take their protective clothing off. And old dude's trying to kill Bond, like
Yes.
for sure. Like
Yeah,
he's
because
swinging it as hard as he can in his head.
It's Moon. He's like,
Yeah.
this fucker is the one that screwed it up in the beginning for me. I think
Well, then he
Graves,
didn't
you know,
like
because
losing.
Graves at this point, Graves knows more than Bond.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna try to kill him for real.
But it was always
Yeah.
the fact that he was losing the fencing match. He's like, how about we do old school first blood and all that, like like they used to. And like I said, took it all that way. And like I said, there's several different swords fighting, destroying the whole place and all that. And yeah, the undertone was that he knew. Like they both kind of knew, but no one there at the club was aware. They just was like, oh shit, like this guy never loses and he's world class. And who's this guy that walked off the street and everything and is holding his own and actually beating him? And like I said, then several different swords were used. I really liked this scene. It was great choreography.
Yeah, you started off with like the sabers, and then you end up with one of them. Then Graves ends up with a samurai sword, and then they both end up with broadswords. Like,
Yeah.
and then Frost breaks it up with her own sword. And
And they do a lot of damage to a lot of beautiful things.
yes, they do.
Apparently
But
she's
in
better
the
than
end,
both of them.
he still had to like pay Bond then the money. They both clean up and all that. And it's like, oh, then come to this event.
Yeah.
Like I said, I like the way that whole thing flowed. Like it was very James Bond to me and all. Like that was a good part of the movie.
I was okay with the sword fight.
Yeah, it was a decent scene.
Now, here's my question about the sword fight ends, and Bond gets a package. What's ends up being from M, and essentially she's asking him to come in. But I mean, obviously it wouldn't be a Bond movie if she did this, but why doesn't, if she knows exactly where he is and can get to him that easily, why doesn't she just have him killed?
Because she knows what he's doing, I would imagine. That he's trying to, one, clear his name and get to the bottom of what is actually going on. I think it's that to where she knows that there's still a level of competency there that's happening. And even though she may not have called him out on it, like I said, I think earlier in the movie it was about following protocol. Like, you should have eaten the capsule. Now I have to deal with your ass, and protocol says that you're just our prisoner for the rest of your life till you die naturally. Like, you did this to yourself. Like, you could have died earlier. Like, that's the way I read into it.
Yeah, she reluctantly, I agree, Tom. She knows that James Bond is the best, but she also she has her duties that she must fulfill, and she can't just willy-nilly like James Bond does, just go with her gut on everything, That's not going to work for M, but she wants to kind of bring him back into the fold, but she can do it only kind of in a clandestine way is kind of how I took this meetup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And essentially she asked him to be an agent again and do the mission he's already doing.
Now you're official.
It's awfully big of her. We
Yeah.
need you.
Yeah. But then we get our first official scene of John Cleese as Q. By the way,
Tearing up his shit left and right.
well, that's true. But like
I loved it.
first off, we get to see virtual reality.
Yeah, the Apple Pro.
Yeah.
Apple
But-
Vision Pro.
We don't know it at first. Like, it's just Bond in his office, and all of a sudden Moneypenny is dead, and people in the hallway are dead.
Jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like shooting people, and then you see Mr. Robinson come out of his office as well, and then they save M, and then he takes the glass.
Robinson gets gunned down too, unfortunately.
Yeah, he does. But then he takes the glasses off, and Cleese is standing there, and it was a training exercise. So Barry, while your comment there, did it get you? Did you think Moneypenny was actually dead?
Nah, I mean, I'm not retarded.
Well, you said it was jarring, so I
But
thought.
it is jarring, like when
Yeah.
you look and there's Moneypenny with a bullet in her brain. You know?
Yeah.
I thought maybe he was dreaming when I first saw that. I was like,
That's what I
it's a
thought it
dream
was.
because they're not gonna kill Moneypenny and then not show it. You know, there's gonna be you're gonna see that she's too iconic of a character to be killed off screen.
See, that's the way I thought it was, to where like because of the torture and like the venom from earlier to allude to, I was like, oh, I bet he's having some messed up dreams
Yeah,
about coming
that makes
back or
sense.
anything. Like who he actually cares about is like actually dead now, and we're really gonna see him
I
rampage.
feel like that would have been much better if they had went with that route. If they would have said that this is the result of him being captured for 14 months.
Oh, it would have been
dreaming
yeah,
about the people that he, care about, work with,
Yeah.
dead because he couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
That would have been a much better to the storyline. It would have.
It would have
Absolutely.
drove home the point better, I think. Yeah, you're right.
I also liked the callback to the rocket pack, by the way.
Yeah, that was my favorite little callback that they did there.
Yeah. It was and he just like, does it still work? And turns it on. That was good stuff.
Did y'all catch the callback in the hotel room when you got the spies in the closet filming?
Oh,
Callback-
yes.
Callback
Yeah,
to
good
I can't
call.
remember which one.
That's from Russia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I was like, "Man, these dirty Asians are making a porno."
Well, both. Potentially making a porn movie and
You don't know who's buying what.
I'm like, "They're getting set up. They're about to sell that on the black market."
So, Barry, what'd you think of the invisible car that Q gives?
I have mixed thoughts on the invisible car. One is it's dumb. That's my first thought, is it's dumb. But in some ways, it's not that ridiculous when you consider like modern technologies and
They try to do with boats all the time and stuff. Yeah.
you
They
know,
have shields that do it now.
yeah, and again, I'm not going to pretend like I understand all of this. I don't hate it. It's grown on me as I consider it. But it's still ridiculous in that the idea that it would be undetectable while in motion is dumb.
Yes.
Because as far as I know, an Aston Martin's got a giant fucking V10 or V12 motor in it.
does.
Those
things are loud.
I'm sure it makes a lovely sound. But anyway, for what it is,
I love
Fine.
the owner's manual when he just like flung it up to test the guns
Yeah.
and all that right in front of him and all like cracked me up. Like I said, just walking through, just fucking with the dude the whole time.
Right.
And then this old boy just, like I said, that like stuck up British type humor type. I was like, oh, like just so offended that you did that to all my stuff, like all the hard work. Like, yeah, I liked it.
I
Like,
think probably more interestingly, Ray, what did you think of that car?
I was like, "We're at the end here. It's like, what else can you say at this point?" I mean, it got debunked at the other side because the dude had the thermal imaging cam on him. So, all in all, I mean, he got found out, so it really wasn't that big a deal, I guess.
You don't hate the idea, though?
I mean, the idea of a camouflage car, yeah, that idea sounds good. But, I mean, in this movie, it's like, what else can you say about these fucking ridiculous gadgets that he has and the security systems that he has on his vehicles? I mean, we're at, 21 right now? I mean, I can't say too much more.
I could see how some people would see this almost as like a jumping the shark sort of moment.
I mean, yeah,
You know,
probably.
I don't view it that way, but I can see how it could be taken that way.
Okay, I guess here's my thing with it is I didn't have a problem with the invisible car on face value. Like, okay, his car can now turn invisible. But Barry hit the nail on the head earlier. Was he was driving it by people and they didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
Like remote control driving it by people, like with it from like me to Justin, like 5 feet from him, and they're just like, "Oh, there's no car going by me." That's and like you said, it's like a V12 engine rumbling
you can
by.
hear
That
that
thing
shit.
could creep up on anybody.
maybe it had a really nice exhaust.
Yeah,
Well, not even that. I mean, you can hear shit hitting the snow. I mean,
that's true
alone.
too, and it's leaving tracks.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
leaving tracks, dude.
It is
It
all
doesn't-
up.
it
It's a
doesn't
bit
mute
silly,
down.
obviously. Yeah.
Now, here's my other thing, and we're jumping ahead in the movie a little bit, but later in the car chase scene between him and Zhao, like, it's not just invisible; it's a tank. because he's driving it through things and over things and ramming things and taking bullets and all these things, and there's not a speck of damage at the end. Like, it's a complete and total Zhao's too, but like they're just it's a tank that looks like a car.
That's why you should have read the manual.
Yeah, those.
Yeah.
I think it was a DB8 or whatever, the Aston Martin DB8, DB9, something like that. But those things they're essentially like luxury muscle cars.
Yeah.
I mean, they're loud, they're heavy, and yeah. So I mean, I could see the whole tankish part of it.
I mean, he was running into
being
like ice.
Quiet and
So I mean, maybe he could get through the ice buildings.
Which, yeah,
Yeah.
when he's whipping through
I
that
thought
like
that was
spiral
stupid
turns
as hell,
though, I thought
too.
that was
Freaking
cool.
Ice
Like,
hotel.
Yeah, the ice hotel, like the driving like down, like reverse or whatever it was, and then back up. Like it
But
it was
that
fun
whole
to
scene
watch.
was just nuts.
Like,
The whole, I mean, I brought this up in multiple episodes before. This is one of my least favorite Bond scenes ever. Is the cars on the ice?
Yeah.
Like, it really, really bothers me.
just because of the logistics of it, or like
Well, the logistics of it are completely out of control. But again, like Barry said, we're talking about a Bond movie. It doesn't have to be completely logistical.
yeah,
But like, it's just so nuts and so stupid, and for no reason. Like, he built an ice castle for a demo.
As one does.
Yeah, for a demo, and then decides to use the ice castle to kill an agent. Like, I'm going to melt the ice and kill this agent. Like, what? And the whole time Bond is like driving perfectly on ice. Like, there is no skidding and slipping and sliding around. No, I'm just driving perfectly, actually.
feel the curve. Like,
Well, I mean, it's all-wheel drive.
Yeah, all-wheel drive, yeah.
Oh,
And see,
didn't it have spikes?
And-
what's
Might
more
have.
Bond villainish though than that type of like elaborate death? Like, I've built an ice castle to like kill you in, like it's
To drown and boil you.
And,
like
and-
it's
yeah, and it's like
very Bond villain.
he uses his ejector seat to make a missile miss him. Like, it's just I don't know. Like, I just hate that whole scene, and it's just it's so it has nothing to do with Bond. It's just all the gadgetry and all the bullshit and all the I mean, how many times did they drive around that ice sculpture?
yeah, I was gonna say that's what I mean.
Just drive and drive and drive and drive, and the whole time the girl's drowning. like how she's still alive, nobody knows, because bitch drowned a long time ago, and Bond finally just put his car through the door.
Maybe she's a free diver in her spare time. We don't know.
and see, that's not the biggest thing I had with this, because where's her location at?
She's in a room.
No, I mean like
It's like
geographical, like
Below, isn't it? Like you're
Where are they at?
yeah,
In
like
Iceland.
like Antarctica or something.
They're in Iceland.
Iceland. Like, you got Bond walking around outside in this fucking wintertime with no jacket on, no hat on. This motherfucker's gonna get frostbite. And you got
So
the
mostly you're worried that he didn't bundle up.
Well, I'm wondering, I get
fucking
the I'm trying to go with trying to find some kind of realism
Yeah.
to being a fucking spy or something. And these motherfuckers are not setting themselves up for success. They're just walking around casually fucking doing. He's outside for 20 fucking minutes in a goddamn tuxedo.
Hey, I want you want to talk about realism? We're talking about a professional killer in James Bond doesn't realize that his gun's unloaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was completely and totally ridiculous. Like, there's no way a guy like James Bond.
Yeah, you're counting rounds.
Like there's no way he doesn't know that the girl
Yeah, the
unloaded his
weight
gun and gave it back to
The
him.
weight of it. I
The
would
weight,
imagine.
yes.
You gotta know about
There's
the
a
weight.
completely different weight to the handle of a gun when there's bullets in it.
Yeah.
just check too.
Yeah, and not only that, but yeah,
You just like
not only that, but like, did he have one in the chamber the night before and didn't think to look in the chamber the next morning? Like, you'd have to chamber around.
You
Like
have to
anything.
Check. You're checking. You're
Yes.
checking at all times.
Yes.
This may be odd, and I've never actually seen this movie. I don't think, but I've seen clips of it and stuff, and I think this is an unfortunate comparison, probably. But all of the ice castle stuff and everything that goes with it reminds me of Batman and Robin.
Oh God, yes. Oh my
Does
God.
that make sense?
Oh, it does.
'Cause it's
Yeah,
just
it
like a
does make
big
sense.
Mess of ice and like there's ridiculous action. You
Trying to
know,
break records out there,
Just
Barry.
chill.
Like,
Chill.
Get to the top.
which even if you consider it, because again, that's what pops into my mind. You would think that the people making Die Another Day would be like, let's make sure that our film doesn't look anything like that because people hated it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
yeah, I don't
You
remember
would have
being
think that
revered, like-
going out on top with the last movie would have been high priority. Not with this group of fucking creators.
I really think they thought the use of the Wonder Weapon there, like when it's chasing him and the speeder, was going to save him.
Mm.
Like I think that's the scene I always remember. Like to be honest, until I rewatched it, I forgot all about like the damn car, the ice sculpture, and all that. I always think of him outrunning that that laser thing. Is like as he's speeding, is like, oh, he broke your record, boss. Like just
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like that's the iconic scene that I feel like they were building to.
This is worthy of discussion. What do you guys think of this weapon? I actually think the weapon and the idea behind it is kind of cool.
I love the weapon.
And-
'Cause I played a lot of Command and Conquer as a kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, as soon as they had the chronosphere charged, I would zap people from space all the time. Like,
All
like,
right.
That or if you ever play Gears of War,
yep.
it's called the something of Dawn, and it's you point it and then satellite
Yeah.
big laser.
It's
runs
all, but
down.
that's always been things like how to use like the power of the sun or something from space to just pinpoint fire and everything and
Essentially,
destroy
you
stuff.
put a big
like,
magnifying glass up there and focus it like
and
we're ants.
yeah, that's
And
like
it-
yeah, like.
Kind of works the same.
Yeah.
But no, I love the idea of the weapon. To actually like to see it on film like that as a kid, I loved it. Like that to me, that was more iconic to me as a kid than any other thing in this movie. Like, as I
So,
remember.
speaking of the weapon, we see the weapon destroy all sorts of things, even a nuclear bomb.
Yes.
Like, we see it take out pretty much everything. Then Jinx flies their plane headfirst into it, and the plane survives. Like, riddle me this.
But it looked rough after. Yeah, that's ridiculous. There's no reason for that.
Not only did the plane survive, they survived.
Yeah.
Like, everybody. The bad guys, the good guys, everybody's still alive afterwards.
Yeah, not good. That's
Whole
indefensible.
time, so Bond running from the damn thing in his car. He never even had to. He could have just stayed there.
Yeah.
It would have
would've
actually. It
lost the
probably would have
panel.
warmed him up.
Car would have
Yeah.
reflected
As
it.
Ray pointed out, he's frostbitten.
He's
He didn't-
probably
That
cold.
laser would have warmed him up.
This dude had no mittens.
None. Not even a motherfucking scarf.
Oh, man. But then, like, then of all times, this is when Graves decides to tell his father that I'm Moon, and I've just changed my appearance. And then his dad's like, well, you're a monster. I'm going to kill you.
Well, yeah, and still doesn't respect. And I love that too, to where like it's you did all this as like no, you're still a piece of shit boy. Like just
Well, to be fair to his dad's big concern, seemingly to me, was like, hey, my son's going to start a fucking nuclear holocaust.
well that too, but just
I'm not saying I necessarily blame his dad for not approving.
it just seemed like one
I'm
of those
just-
where, like a bunch of daddy issues and you still expected it. Like
Right.
yeah, I love that his dad was still that fuck you moment to where like you're still a piece of shit kid. Like just
Son, I've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
And now that I know that you want to, destroy parts of humanity, I'm on board.
yeah, your legacy was better off when you were dead over that cliff. Like,
Yeah.
that's you died on your high note that day. Like
Yeah.
that's the way I took it, and yeah,
So, but Graves / Moon, of course, then kills his own father,
Yep.
which didn't really like land real hard. Like while you're watching it, it's not like,
Well, you saw it coming a mile away.
you're right.
yeah, you saw it coming, and it's his father's still like a Korean or North Korean general, and like it's like no one in this equation's a good guy.
Right.
Like so, it's like I can't feel bad that you just killed a commie general in front of me. Like it's
Right.
like yeah, like I said, I seen it more as like daddy issues like played out in front of us, like more than anything.
Absolutely.
Of course, then, the plane's going down, and Bond is fighting Graves, and Jinx is fighting Frost, who is now, I don't think we said it earlier, but has outed herself as a traitor. She's the one that turned Bond in to begin with.
And
Yeah.
changed into Street Fighter clothes.
Yes, with a sword, big sword.
Yes.
Yep.
And then, so they have these big duo fight scenes. They keep flashing back and forth between the girls fighting, the guys fighting. And surprise, surprise, the good guys win. Graves ends up going through the plane's engine.
Yeah. Which fight did you like better? I liked the Bond Graves fight better, but the other one was just fine.
The other one was just fun to look at and hope. Whereas the whole time I was hoping that somebody's clothes were getting ripped off.
I just
I
heard
mean, it
Dave
seemed like
Chappelle's voice.
They
"Come
were
on,
wearing the
Titty."
type of
Just
outfits
like-
that should have been ripped off.
Yeah, that's true.
just-
It's fair. It's fair.
They had swords, blades going around. Stuff should have ripped off. Boob should have popped out.
See, that's what that Dave Chappelle. Come on, Titty.
The Graves,
Come on, titty.
Yeah, that's like all I can think of. Is,
the
I thought I
Graves
did that with my
death
mind.
was a pretty
Like-
good death.
Yeah.
I think, is this our second villain at least to die going through a freaking
Turbine?
plane window? But then, of course, he was eaten up by the jet engine as well. But Goldfinger went out through a fucking plane window,
He did, yes.
as did Gustav.
Yeah, we've had a few.
Yeah, they are kind of running out of ways to kill people. Like,
It's very true.
at least dramatically, anyway. Like,
And then Jinx just puts a knife through Frost's chest.
Mm-hmm.
Like kicks it through her chest, actually.
yeah,
Yeah. With the knife, of course, was attached to The Art of War,
Mm-hmm.
the book. I didn't care for that. I didn't like the line. I'm always put off whenever a woman angrily calls another woman bitch. Like, it just doesn't do it for me. I'm like, right. I knew you were angry at her before you called her a bitch.
it doesn't drive the point any further
Yeah,
home for you, Barry.
like,
Like,
okay.
But then, like, the movie's just kind of over from there.
Yeah.
Like, they won their fights and they stopped. Graves going through the turbine turned off the satellite.
yeah, because
Yeah, because it was attached to his, robo suit.
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
control it and
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, his
like-
shocker outfit from Spider-Man.
yeah, that's like Electro. Like,
Yeah, and then you have to forgive me. I don't even remember how do Bond and Jinx wrap up their day?
Well, he wrapped something up and I think gave it to her.
Where was this located?
Where do
they
they?
weren't in a boat, were they?
Where do they end
I
up?
can't remember. I'm just being stupid,
Oh,
really.
boy, I wish somebody would remember because I don't.
Where do they end up?
Yeah. Guess it'll be a mystery to us.
Yep, I guess somebody have to go watch it.
obviously wasn't that memorable.
Yeah. I apologize for bringing it up.
Plot holes, Barry. Like,
Yeah. So I think that pretty much wraps up our talking about the movie, gentlemen. And that will move us into our rankings. Body count. I only have Bond down for 2 in this one. That'd be Jinx and Frost.
Yep.
So
Double five.
we're now at 55 through 21 movies. Now we'll rank our Bond girl here, and I feel like we're going to be similar here, guys. But I guess I've been wrong before.
Oh,
But say what?
Wasn't there a thing where Bond and Moneypenny kiss?
Oh yeah, the VR scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the ending
Oh,
scene. That's
yeah.
how it
Where-
ended. It
Where
was
Moneypenny
the,
was like she had the thing on it. I thought
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was cool.
That was
I
funny.
did not think it was fake.
yeah.
I was like, oh, he's finally doing it.
Yeah, 'cause
Finally.
he cleans the desk off and throws it down on the
Yeah.
desk.
And I'm
Yeah,
like, they finally did it. And then it was Moneypenny sitting.
just that's
to be all right. It was a
Damn
it was a clever
It was
scene.
clever. I'm like, yeah, all right, that was good.
I will say that did get me. Like, yeah, because I didn't see the reoccurrence of the VR. Like,
Mm. All right. Well, Bond girls it is. Barry, where do you want to put Jinx on our Bond girl list?
And why don't we just put her at 1?
What? All right.
Wow.
Is
Wow,
that-
okay.
is that-
All right.
But what do you want to put her at, Barry?
Wow.
Like, I heard the tone of your voice and everything. It was the not my list tone. So
Yeah.
where do you want to put her?
Yeah. Where would
I do want to put her at 1.
okay.
Okay.
I mean, Halle Berry's a sexy lady.
Yes.
She is.
Justin
Oh man, that's tough.
Jesus.
just threw everybody off with that one ranking from Barry. I
I mean,
think.
I was gonna have her up there. I'm actually thinking 3.
3, huh? Okay. Ray.
Oh shit. I'm gonna put her at 2. I think I'll put her at 2.
Tom.
I was gonna say 4.
I was also going to go with 2. Well, we're bunched up, guys. That's the solid thing.
Yeah.
Or we're at 1,
We're at
2,
1,
3, and
2,
4.
So this is good. This is really good.
Yeah. Well, Barry, I want to hear from you because, like,
Wow.
you know, you or Ray are the guy that usually goes way low.
Ranking for a minute. Yeah.
Well,
Top of the list, Barry.
I know you guys love Stephanie Seymour, and is it Stephanie Seymour?
Jane.
Jane Seymour.
Stephanie Seymour was a model in the 90s. Actually more attractive than Jane. But anyway, Jane Seymour is a beautiful woman. I'm not going to deny that. But, I mean, frankly, Halle Berry's a much more sexy woman, and I can't put Jane Seymour above her.
Well, here's my thing: is I'm impressed, Barry, because you did not tell us that Jinx was more useful in the movie than.
I mean, we could get into that if you like.
I mean, it's true. Your argument would be factual. She was more useful.
Sculptor knew the future.
But
But if I had
got
said that,
banged.
everybody would have groaned.
yes, we all would have. You're correct. So I'm willing to go with Barry if we want to go that direction. I'm willing to do it.
I'm okay with going up.
But I guess we need to talk to the low man and Tom and see where he's at.
I mean,
Tom doesn't like ladies.
I'm after that very boyish look there later on the list. That's,
Pam!
that's
Pam!
I'm more of a Bouvier type of
yeah,
guy.
it's like I could go up to 3, like, cause I'll knock old girl down and all that just because, like we'll go back to the whole Halle Berry's natural, so I'll give her another
There you
bump
go.
for
That's a
that.
+1.
So, but I mean
I don't know about 1, but I could go.
yeah,
2.
I'm like I think 3 is as high as I can go.
I could go up to 2.
I'm very surprised.
with that.
I mean, to each his own, of course. It doesn't bother me in any way, shape, or form.
You sound bothered.
But it's surprising to me that you guys do find Jane Seymour, beautiful woman. I'm not denying that, more attractive than Halle Berry. That surprises me.
Well, if you take them now,
I think it's the eyes,
No.
Barry.
Well, no,
Halle Berry
right.
still looks really, really good. Jane Seymour
looks great.
She looks
for
great,
age,
but
yeah.
she's actually showing her age.
Well, I mean,
a lot more than
she's
Halle Berry
like in her 70s, isn't she?
Yeah, and I think Halle is in her 50s.
Right. I'm judging them in their prime.
Yeah.
as
In their
here.
prime,
We're talking about a
That-
young Seymour.
Jane Seymour, she was like what, 19 in that.
Yeah.
A young Seymour.
I mean, you can't.
You just
like,
said
Yeah,
you
but
can't
that's
get
cool,
fresher
man.
than that.
Yeah, but once you see Halle Berry and Swordfish, dude,
We're not
there
talking
ain't
about
nothing beating
See
Swordfish.
that.
the boob the first time.
Yeah.
You ain't beating that.
That was what?
She did
Two,
look
that
really
was
good.
that was right. They came out a year apart. So like that's the same
Oh,
woman,
after
really.
Back
Yeah.
in the day, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Like I said, I bumped her up because of her titties. Like,
I mean, yeah,
I'm not
I'll
completely.
move off
yeah,
of one.
I guess here's my thing: is like Tom dug his heels in. Tom didn't say like, "Oh, I'm willing to negotiate." Tom said, "I can't go higher than this on Halle Berry." So I'm more interested in that argument right now. I can't go higher than this on Halle Berry.
Well, I think the 1 and 2 come across far more feminine to me.
And you think, you know what?
Like I enjoy feminine.
Halle
like,
Berry is probably one of the few women that I like short haircut. Like, she
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's
She
fair.
can
That's a
pull it
fair
off.
She
point.
can do a pixie
Absolutely.
cut.
I mean,
It's
because
fine.
she has similar hair to Pam, and we're not calling her a boy.
But she pulls
see,
it off.
she has
She
a body,
pulls,
though, that
but she
Yeah.
pulls it
holds it.
off because she has a feminine face too.
Her
more,
face and her
she's
body.
more feminine than Bouvier.
Yeah,
But like I said, it's just
Ray's up there getting pissed.
just
They're
Hey, you
right.
can call
Dang
Pam
it.
whatever you want,
But
but Pam
what-
is all woman.
But 1 and 2 just come across far more feminine to me. That's all. Like it's
Ray, what's your thoughts? You're at 3, right?
No, I'm at 2.
Oh, you're at 2. Okay,
Yeah.
so just you were at 3 then.
I was at 3, and I said, you know what? I could come up to 2.
so
I could go up to
So Justin and Ray are at 2. I came up to 3.
I'm also at 2, and Barry's at 1.
I'll live with wherever we land, fellas.
The average here is 2. If you want to do it mathematically.
Hashtag,
Two's all right by me.
hashtag not my list.
Yeah. Two's A-okay.
I'll say I'm willing to accept the group consensus as a 2. I'll sound like Barry here, but it'll be on video record that I do believe 1 and 2 are far more feminine in my eye.
You're a giver.
It's
Okay.
actually pretty interesting. You see the 3 women with the most successful careers are at the top.
I
You're-
didn't even really.
And if
notice
you
that
look at
until
all
you
those
said it,
women,
like,
those 3 are the ones that have gone through and have been.
and we're not
in
even ranking
more
them
and
on
more
success.
movies.
We're ranking them just on
Yeah, yeah.
looks alone. Like,
Yeah, you might be right. The only one that really may break that would be Sutton. Because she's had a successful career after this, acting-wise. And I don't...
Yeah, but it's more of a like a lot of those women are making things nowadays, not now. I mean,
Yeah.
of course she's not, but I don't know. Maybe longer than her.
No, I mean, those 3 are... I mean, well, actually, the top 4, if we put Halle Berry up there, are the most successful actresses of all. All of them. I mean, it's not even remotely close, really.
Yeah.
Like, they've had the biggest
Now,
careers
Sutton's
by
had
a
a long
ton.
career. So has Honey Rider. They had long careers
Yeah.
doing things. So,
Well, Honey Rider probably just... It's so long ago that it's not familiar to us.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about the 60s. So,
Even
like...
the Wei Lin one, she was in a lot of other things. I mean,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She's had a huge career.
she still makes movies now, I think.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, she was in that Everything Everywhere All at Once.
oh, that is her.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so we putting her 2? Is that what we
with
decided?
Sounds
I'm
like
okay
a deal.
with you.
All right, 2 it is.
Tracy just moving lower and lower.
Poor lady.
I think Tracy might be worst all time.
Dude,
The way that this list is going, Tracy may be all time number.
I think that
She might. be
Yeah, but we're
number
gonna
20.
come up on movies without Bond girls now.
Oh.
Well, yeah, and then you'll get movies
that
that
just says what they've done with the franchise.
we're just going to not Bond girls, just the love interest.
Yeah, we're gonna have pretty girls in movies. That's what we're gonna have.
Not very pretty, but okay.
Even his like pine after woman isn't like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we don't want to get too much into that.
Because they're lowering the bar.
So while Ray does that, gentlemen, let's talk about the movie itself. Barry, where do you want to put Die Another Day?
I'm going to put it at 17.
All right.
There's a lot of good stuff in this movie. There's a fair amount of stuff in it that's not good too. But even as we talked about it, there are some interesting ideas, and they pulled off some stuff pretty well in it. So I'm not going to bash it. I'll put it right under The World Is Not Enough.
All right. Justin?
I would put it at 18 as the better Diamond movie. Still bad, but
Good
better
call.
of the better of the two.
That's
Diamonds.
exactly where I was going to go. I was going to also go at 18. Ray?
You know what? I think I'll go with y'all at 18.
Okay. Tom?
Yeah.
I liked it. I like Diamonds better than this. So
You hated it. Holy crap!
but I liked it better than this. Like I said, if we're doing it there, I'd rather watch Sean Connery fuck up Las Vegas and like do his shit on the oil rig against Blofeld than like the bumbling Asian with plastic surgery and all that motif. Like
But they had the one thing going for it that the other one didn't. Like
we-
I said, we knew where the diamonds
we
came
knew
from.
like a big plot hole, but I mean, but Barry got me with like, because I was gonna put it like at 16 originally, but Barry talked to me like, I don't know, like they tried stuff and like yeah, it may not have landed. I did like the choreography a whole lot. Like I mean,
Well, you see the potential that this movie could have had. Once again, you see the potential,
I agree. It had a
And
ton
it-
of potential.
but they just
Yeah.
did not capitalize on.
Well, this was an original storyline. Tom
Tom
talked
was
last time
awesome.
there was nothing original. There was an original storyline here. He was captured. He was tortured. He was disavowed. Like he's tried to earn his reputation back. Like that.
it was new.
It was a new story, and they just screwed it up. So, we are at 17, 18, and 19.
I believe that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, we're bunched up. We're in agreement as far as it's down there somewhere. Yeah. I will also I'll go with you first, Barry, since you're the high one. What made you put it ahead of the Man with the Golden Gun?
Just as, again, I use this word watchability. It's something that, 5-6 months from now, if let's say my Paxton asked me, hey, do you want to watch, Die Another Day? Yeah, sure. I'll give that a watch. That's not going to bug me to watch. And while I don't dislike necessarily any of the movies below it, if he asked me to watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I may have to get my mind right for it.
Well, I will say this.
know what I mean?
I mean, we're all in agreement that it's better than Her Majesty's. I mean, nobody put it that low. So, I mean, yes, I agree with you. But I also think, like, if one of my sons asked me, hey, Dad, can we watch one of these movies? I'm going to say yes, no matter which one of them it is. Like, I'm not going to tell my son, hey, we can't watch a James Bond movie together.
Terrible taste. I don't know why Ray really just
Maybe
question everything
I'll
he's
say
saying.
it this way. This movie never felt like a slog to me. Sometimes in Golden Gun, and actually all of the movies from 17 down, it felt at times like a bit of a chore. I never felt that way with this movie. I could groan at this movie at times for the choices they made or just the way it looked. Like, there were things I didn't like some of the editing that they did where, like, they'd speed the camera up real quick, and do weird stuff. I think it was like an early 2000s thing. I didn't like any of that, but those are small things to me.
So, guys, if we're just for a little perspective here, where do you think this comes in on overall with the Bond movies in box office?
Probably about 15th.
Anybody else have a guess?
I guess it's top 10.
All right. Anybody else?
I'd say probably like maybe bottom 5.
It's 20.
Really?
Yeah.
It sucked that hard, huh?
Yeah. And actually, other than GoldenEye, most of the rest of Brosnan's weren't received very well.
That's true.
No. Just they actually, I mean, the box office actually would have it higher than all of us did, but they're down there with us.
Yeah.
Ray, maybe you did, and I apologize. Did you pick a slot?
Yeah, I was at 18.
Okay.
I picked
Yeah.
18.
Me, Justin, and Ray all had 18.
Well, we're all in the same vicinity, obviously. I'm not going to nitpick. I mean, if 3 of you guys say 18,
Tom?
I mean, I can come up to 18, but I have to justify it by the choreography and the fight scenes. Because, like I said,
And Jinx.
No, but
No, I mean,
like,
Jinx is a better Bond girl than what we just put her at 2, so I mean, who was the Bond girl in Diamonds?
Oh, wasn't that Tracy?
Tiffany Case.
Tiffany Case.
Tiffany Case, yeah, and she's what?
Yeah, but I mean,
She was 47 at the time of filming.
She's 14th on our list.
That stood out. That stood out with you, Barry. Like,
He does like a mature woman.
like, but yeah, I'll like I said, I like, I guess the perspective of that it's a modern Diamonds and all of it. But I'll give you the originality that it had. I can go with you guys on that.
Okay.
I think that probably fared better than I thought it would. I thought it would be dead last when it came down to it. So
Honestly, well, like I said, I was wondering, like you said, with the CGI, how was that going to knock it down any?
Oh my
there was
God.
only one CGI scene that bugged me, and it was the whatever you
The
just
parachute.
with the
Yeah.
parachute and the icebergs or whatever.
Yeah.
That
That's
was
the
stupid.
only.
And I didn't like the Halle Berry diving off the cliff. Like, that was obviously sped up. Of course, the CGI, because they're not really going to put her up there.
Yeah.
But I thought that was silly. No one survives that drop. Right. Backwards.
It's a hell of a jump. Like,
Yeah.
to miss all the rocks. Like,
You're right. You're
Like,
right there. And she
yeah.
was very close
yeah,
to
like,
the wall. So whereas there's rocks right there. No.
Well, that would put Die Another Day at 18, Pushing Diamonds, Her Majesties, and Moonraker are bottom 3 down another spot.
Moonraker and Tracy are going to stay together.
And
For a while.
The Man with the Golden Gun is right ahead of it. So we're dealing with the bottom again, kind of like we did last episode. It'll be interesting to see where Craig, is in this. Starting Craig next week.
Well, I believe that with him, he, like Brosnan, starts really strong.
Yes, his best movie is
GoldenEye
his best movie is up
obviously
front.
Brosnan's best, and personally, I believe Casino Royale
I do too.
is his best.
But do make sure, though, to go visit your doctor, get some antidepressants. We're starting the Craig era.
And bundle up if you're going to be out.
Yeah, for God's sake. You'll catch your death.
You're goddamn right.
We appreciated you tuning in for this Die Another Day episode, and I guess we'll appreciate you tuning in next time for Daniel Craig and Casino Royale. Yeah, it'll be a change. It'll be a definite change. We'll see. Because for those of you that are listening and don't know, the Craig's movies start off as prequels, so we're going backwards.
See, I thought they were a rebooted timeline.
Nope.
Casino Royale is supposed to be the original.
Well, I know that, but I thought that they rebooted the timeline.
Well, they
In
end
modern
up
day.
rebooting the timeline later, but that's not how Casino Royale was given to us. Casino Royale was given to us as a prequel.
Oh.
And then later on, they decided, we're going to go our own direction.
Just kind
Oh,
of.
well,
So
they
now
don't
they're just
even-
saying that they're just standalones, and that was just a series of standalones. And none of these movies are connected. And except, it's.
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
trying to explain away because of No Time to Die. We'll get to
Yeah.
that when we get there, but yeah.
yeah, no, technically, Casino Royale and No Time to Die is like the completion of Bond's life.
Yeah, so whatever happens, however many Bond movies they make, No Time to Die is going to be the last one, and Casino Royale is the first.
Okay.
So
It seems like
we
a,
got them all out of
it seems
order.
like a poor choice on the
It is.
studio's part.
Pandering. It's a lot of pandering, baby.
Part of that was probably Daniel Craig because
Yeah, because he was bitchy
essentially
somewhere in the middle.
he hated being Bond towards the end of it.
They just kept throwing shitloads of money at him to get him to come back.
And you know what? I wouldn't turn it away either because he was
Yeah.
paid
I
Robert
would-
Downey Iron Man money.
I really would have liked
in
to see him
those
back
movies.
for him to come back for the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo films, but that didn't happen either.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I saw the originals. Was the guy that was that reporter? I think they did have him throughout that series, as smaller parts, but yeah, I think they only did 2, right?
Well, they did one with him, and then they did the newer book down the line.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll see you next time. We appreciate you tuning in for Blockbuster Bums.